Hi guys, so the other day we found out the list of 23 nominees for the next lot of Premier League Hall of Fame inductees. So there's 6 spaces up for grabs. Just thought I'd go through my thoughts on who they've nominated, who's missed out, who do I think will get in, and my thoughts exactly on why these people have been nominated. Now, I will start this off by saying I was only born in 97, so there are a couple of the players on this list that, to be perfectly honest, I don't really remember. So I may have a bit of a bias to some of the more later ones in this list, sort of from about 2003, 2004 onwards. So just in case that comes across, I'm fully aware that is the case. So there are a couple of names that are on there that I may not really know much about, never really watched played, so I'll just have to go with what I've heard from other people in the industry who probably know more than I do anyway. So I just thought I'd let people know exactly where I am in terms of me and what my thoughts are and any prejudice that I may have against one player or another. So just to let you know, that was all. So I'll start off by giving you a rundown of the full 23 names. Like I said, there's only 6 spaces up for grabs, but here we are. So to start off, we've got Tony Adams, David Beckham, Dennis Bergkamp, Sol Campbell, Eric Cantona, Andrew Cole, Ashley Cole, Didier Drogba, Les Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand, Robbie Fowler, Steven Gerrard, Roy Keane, Frank Lampard, Matt Letizia, Michael Owen, Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, John Terry, Robin van Persie, Nemanja Vidic, Patrick Vieira and Ian Wright. So that's the list of 23 names that they've given out for everybody to choose from. Like I said, 6 spaces up for grabs that they're gonna anybody can vote for on the Premier League website, and it'll be announced later on in the year. So like I said, there's a couple of names on this list that me myself don't really know, so I can't really comment on how good they were, how, like, in terms of compared to other people. So that there are a couple of people that may find that a lot of people may have that I might not. So one of those being sort of Tony Adams or people like Les Ferdinand. Don't really remember them too much myself, so I couldn't really comment on exactly how good they were, because I feel a lot of this comes down to when people vote, they're just like that person who may not have had the stats, but just had that specialness about them, which I'll come into in just a bit, about somebody who I didn't really see much, but is probably going to be on my list. So I'll go through them now. First of all, I'll go through who my 6 are. Sorry, I just got my notes of who they are. So yeah, so I've got my 6. So this is who they are. So my first 5 were very easy. So my first 5 were Eric Cantona, Ashley Cole, Steven Gerrard, Roy Keane, and Patrick Vieira. So they were my first 5. Now, in terms of who I thought got the 6th spot, personally, I would go for Frank Lampard. Now, I'm going to admit this, I am a Chelsea fan. He was my favourite player growing up, from the age of about 6. What he brought to that Chelsea squad, I just adored, and I thought he was the greatest gift God in terms of football in this country at the time. So I think that's probably why he gets in there. But I'll go through my thoughts around everybody and why I put them in. So to start off with, we'll go with Eric Cantona. Now, this is a person that I never really saw a bit before my time, but from all accounts, from all I ever hear from anybody, it's sort of in or around the game at the time, was just how much they didn't want to play against him if you weren't a United fan, and if you were a United fan, just how much they adored him. So from that account, I don't think there's anybody quite on this list that I see that somebody goes, oh, I just wouldn't want to play him every week, because he would tear you apart. So for me, that's why Eric Cantona gets onto this list. By all accounts, he was just a class above on the pitch. Obviously, there's some issues in terms of fly kicking a fan, but I think this will be overlooked. This is purely going off football. However, at the saying that, I do think some of the other people that may be overlooked this time may be due to things certain like that. So I'll go through my next player. So next up, I have Ashley Cole. Now, I will preface this that I'm going down the list in order of alphabetical how I've got them written down on my sheet, not in terms of how I would rank them 1 to 6. I think that should be very important to put out. I do not think Ashley Cole was the second best out of those 6 people I said, but I think what he did in that position at the time was world class for both two teams at the top of their game. Arsenal, then obviously Chelsea, and at the time he was probably the best player in that position. Nobody could really question his involvement, and I know obviously we had the off-field issues, but I think, and obviously had Cashley, but he obviously looked like to himself he made the right decision, because he's gone away, he's won trophies, European trophies, which he probably may not have had if he had stayed at Arsenal. So I think there's a clear chance and reason why he may have wanted to leave, saw what was happening, and I don't think anybody can question his ability. There was nobody who could just quite shut down anybody, any winger, world-class winger. He had the ability just to nullify them. So I think he quite clearly goes onto my list in the top 6 of those names listed there. So next I have Steven Gerrard. Now this is important to keep on. This one is going in as somebody who never won the tournament, but I think it was clear that this player was just so good that he can't not be in there. He dragged Liverpool teams to inches away from titles, and teams that probably didn't deserve to be up there fighting for trophies and fighting for titles, he dragged them to him. So I think it's quite clear just how good he was, and why he deserves to be on that list, to be honest. So next up we have Roy Keane. Now, again, he was probably just before, he peaked just before probably my time, but just even hearing stories and then seeing some classic matches, him and obviously the other person on this, one of the other people on this list, him versus Vieira, some great matches. I mean, I remember as a kid having my parents save a FA Cup final match because I was out at the time, so I could come back and watch it. I just remember that sheer rivalry those two had between them, and this guy's ability, it was second to none, really. Pretty much anybody on the pitch wouldn't be able to do anything with him there. Just great quality as a player. I think basically the same is to be said about Patrick Vieira. They made that deep line midfielder their role. That's so much so now that people nowadays, if you want to play in those positions, you're looking to put yourself in those shoes, because they are the people you have to look up to. And finally, like I said, number 6, I've gone for Frank Lampard. It could quite clearly be a couple of other people on this list, a couple of those, funnily enough, Chelsea players. I will put that out there, but I think for me, just personally, what he was able to do as a kid, just he wanted to make me be a better footballer. Just to do what he used to do was amazing. His attacking threat, just knowing where everybody was, what was happening in the game was second to none. He knew exactly what was happening every second of a game. It's like his head had 120 vision, as they say, because he could look everywhere. He was anywhere and everywhere, knew exactly what was happening. So for me, that's why he's made it onto the list. And like I said, as a lifelong Chelsea fan, he probably would get my vote on there. I think there would be let's just say, if I was voting for all 6, he would get my 6th vote. Obviously, if there was just one vote, I would probably go somewhere else. I don't know who I'm actually going to go vote for yet. I haven't decided that. I may decide that later on in this video, so stick around and find out. But they're my 6. So a couple of honourable mentions. Obviously, you got people like John Terry. Again, great stalwart to the game. So what I think happened off the field is sadly going to overshine this, and why he won't make this list. But in terms of his ability as a centre-back, probably one of the best in the league. If you're looking to create a squad out of Premier League teams, he'd be certainly as one of my 2 centre-backs. I think the other one you have to be looking at is possibly someone like either Vidic or Rio. Again, 2 great players in their own right. What they did, great ball skills, winning trophies. So I think those would be my honourable mentions there. I think that obviously, though, sadly, as they are centre-backs, they probably don't get the plaudits as much as the others, as the attacking players. And obviously an honourable mention for Peter Schmeichel, the only goalkeeper on the list nominated. Obviously, he is probably the best goalkeeper in terms of in Premier League history, so it's very tough because he is going to struggle to play some of these teams, these players who are more attacking, who have been more idolised by other people throughout the years. So there are my thoughts. Now I've decided I'm going to vote for Gerrard. He's my player. I think he deserves to be in there, just sheer about quality and what he's done for this game. So that's my vote. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Will you be voting? Who are you going to be voting for? Who would be your 6? And do you think they missed anybody off this list of 23? I don't particularly think they did. I think they did a good job of getting everybody happy in terms of who they wanted. And I think maybe in a couple of years' time it'd be interesting to see who we think is going to make it in the future. So let me know in the comments what you think. Please do like this video, and obviously subscribe if you want to see more of these. Cheers.